People who were missing as a child, what happened? I was 13 when my mom's boyfriend Keith decided I was too expensive to keep around and literally sold me to his drug dealer for $2.00 to pay off his debt. When I refused to go with the stranger, Keith told everyone I ran away from home because I was troubled and ungrateful. It started on a Tuesday when Keith cornered me in the kitchen while mom was at work. "Pack your stuff, kid. You're going to live with my buddy Marcus for a while." I asked why, and he said mom couldn't afford to keep me anymore since she lost her job. He made it sound temporary, like staying with relatives during hard times. Marcus showed up an hour later, a scary guy with neck tattoos who looked at me like I was merchandise. "This the kid?" he asked Keith, counting out $200 bills. Keith nodded and pocketed the money. That's when I realized I wasn't going to stay with family friends. I was sold like property to pay Keith's gambling debts. I ran to my room and locked the door, but Keith kicked it in. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he said, grabbing my arm. I fought back, screaming for neighbors to help, but Keith told Marcus I was having a behavioral episode and needed firm guidance. Marcus grabbed me and started dragging me towards his car. I bit his hand and broke free, running through the neighborhood screaming that I was being kidnapped. Keith chased me yelling that I was a troubled runaway who needed to be brought home. 3 blocks away, I ducked into Mrs. Rodriguez's yard and hid behind her shed. I could hear Keith and Marcus driving around looking for me, Keith calling my name like a concerned parent. After an hour, they gave up and left. Mrs. Rodriguez found me crying in her backyard and brought me inside. When I told her what happened, she immediately called the police. But Keith had already reported me as a runaway. He told officers I'd been acting out since mom lost her job, stealing money and threatening to leave home. He showed them fake texts he'd created where I supposedly said I was running away to California. The police treated me like a delinquent instead of a victim. They brought me home where Keith played the concerned stepfather perfectly. "We've been so worried," he said, hugging me while mom cried with relief. But once the police left, Keith's mask dropped. "You try that again, and next time I'll sell you to someone who won't be as nice as Marcus," he whispered. For 3 days, I was trapped in the house while Keith and mom planned my behavior modification program. They contacted a wilderness therapy camp that would take troubled teens for $3, $0 per month. Keith said it would teach me respect and discipline. Really, it was another way to get rid of me permanently while keeping mom from asking questions. The night before I was supposed to leave for the camp, I heard Keith on the phone with Marcus. "The kid's going away for a year," he said. "When she comes back, she'll be broken in and ready to work." That's when I realized the wilderness camp was just the first step in trafficking me. I waited until 3 a.m., then climbed out my bedroom window and ran to the one person I knew would help. My teacher, Ms. Chen, lived 4 miles away, and I walked through the night to reach her house. When she opened the door at 5 a.m. and saw me standing there with a backpack, she knew something was wrong. I told her everything. Keith selling me to Marcus, the fake runaway report, the wilderness camp plan, and what I'd overheard on the phone. Ms. Chen didn't hesitate. She drove me straight to the police station and demanded to speak to a detective, not patrol officers who might dismiss a runaway kid. Detective Williams listened to my story and immediately called child services. Within hours, they had arrested Keith and Marcus in a sting operation where Marcus thought he was buying another kid. They found evidence on Keith's phone of him advertising children to multiple buyers, including photos and descriptions of local kids he'd been watching. The investigation revealed Keith had been trafficking children for 2 years, using his relationships with single mothers to access vulnerable kids. My mom had no idea, thinking Keith was just trying to help discipline troubled teenagers. She was devastated when she learned the truth about the man she'd trusted with her child. Marcus got 15 years for human trafficking. Keith got 25 years for organizing a child trafficking ring. Mom got extensive therapy, and we moved across the country to start over. Miss Chen became my legal guardian until mom could prove she could protect me from Keith's associates, who were still being investigated. The hardest part was learning that Keith had already sold 3 other children before me, and I was only saved because I fought back and found help. The FBI used Keith's phone records to rescue 2 kids who were still being held by buyers in other states. I was never actually missing from home, but I was missing from the life I should have had. Instead of being a normal teenager worried about homework and friends, I became someone who survived being sold by a person my mom trusted to love and protect me. Ask ChatGPT.